Hey guys, One Tech Lazy here, and welcome back to my day 2 update. I got my character to level 80, and I think we're about halfway there. This is my current passive skill trees, but let me just quickly showcase what is a map like. And if you don't know, it is so much easier to sustain map now, because you can buy them from Doriani, and he sells map up to the tier that you have done. And this build is an absolutely blast, and it's probably one of the best builds I have played in both PoE 1 and 2. And this is not saying that this is the best build, but it is a feels good build because it is one button playstyle. You run around throwing lightning spear. It is extremely satisfying. This easily lived up to my expectations of playing a lightning Javazon back in the D2 deck. Anyway, I'll talk about my companions, my skills, my passive skill trees, and the items right after this showcase. So some expectation here. This is my day 2 setups. I have not put a lot of currency into the build yet, and you can kind of see here that I generate power charge very easy in this build, and it is thanks to one unique items. So I kind of finished the loop that you can see that I generate power charge, and then I consume power charge with the lightning spear, and I ended up giving myself cold infusions over and over again. And this is the one button playstyle because I can also generate frenzy charge with the sniper mark, but that is mainly for the single target damage rotation, which we will talk about. You can see this build absolutely shreds the map right now. She do a lot of damage. I build her as a glass cannon. So if you see me dying on this build, it is completely normal, but I want to progress fast and I want to progress into the end games. And in map like this, you can get up to 2 revives if you're not fully choosing your map. So eventually, when we get to the end game T15, T16, and 17, I will try to choose up my maps and I will build her more tanky. At the state right now, I cannot recommend you to play her in hardcore. Let me see here. So I do have cap elemental resistance in this maps. I think this map has alien weakness, so I have to be a little bit more careful here. However, I have the dogs, and the dogs have the elemental resistant aura, so that's good. Let me just turn off the delirium for bridge here. Rain monster here. Again, for rain monster, you can just kind of use lightning spear. Absolutely no problem. You can kind of see how Volt is performing here, and I kind of ditched the spectral spear setups already, but we can talk about everything later. We have the Volts, so you want to kind of walk around, get to 10 stacks, and then throw out your spear, but you don't really always have to do that. But just keep that in mind. And you also have Barrage. Yep, so use that when you see a rain monster or use it on cooldown. It adds a lot of damage, and you can see my third ascendancy here highlighting the monster weakness. And yep, not enough time, but it's fine. So the way you kind of play the build is you always want to stay in range and throw your spear. You definitely do not want to be in melee, but if you do have to be for packs like Proxima Tangibility, just be extremely careful. My main rotations, I don't use Explosive Spear and Stormlance anymore pretty much. I mainly just throw Lightning Spear now because I have almost 100% chance to crit with Lightning Spear now with the setups, power charge setups that I will talk about a little bit later. But this setup is pretty cheap and it should be a very good budget setup to get you started for mapping. Yeah, so as you can see, we have no problem with damage. This is tier 11 maps. And I still need to do a few more things before I push this to higher tier 15s or like higher. It is extremely easier to do that now. You can kind of just buy maps from Doyani, and you can use that thing to combine the maps to get the maps in the next tier. So as long as you can tier them, you should be able to sustain no problem. I'm not sure why they kind of changed the systems to make it. This is kind of way too easy, but I guess it's a lot more friendly to beginners. And you can kind of see my Atlas objective here. I haven't really progressed my Atlas, so I don't really have any Atlas point yet. So the way you progress is you just kind of go into all the corrupted nexus and do that. And let me just see where's the boss here. We need to fight the boss here to showcase the build single target damage. And I kind of like how they introduce some of the old boss back into this kind of maps, make it kind of refreshing. And I'm pretty sure I have not fight the boss of this map yet, but we'll see. And the layout still sucks though, like absolutely. I think this backtracking is terrible, man. Which is definitely, I'm going to try Aurora setups. You can see when I'm throwing the spear, I'm kind of slowing down here. So I have tried this on Aurora before and it feels really good. But well, you gotta be careful. It's the Proxima tangibility pack here. So just kite them back. You can see the dog kind of help me kite them. So there's definitely some kind of skill aspect involved in here. You need to stay exactly where you need to be. And this is because we are not tanky yet, but we will be. So eventually when we are tanky, it's going to be a pretty chill build, just going around throwing lightning spear like this, very satisfying. Looking forward to pushing this build further into the end game. Well, that's gotta be careful. Those packs, those monster hits are pretty deceptive. I've heard a lot of negativity around the Amazon, Huntress, and Spears in general. I think the early game is definitely a drag, but as soon as you get to the end games, the gameplay is a lot better as I expected. They are not going to just kill a class or like going to not give a class any option to scale, even though it did happen with Crossbow. And hopefully it doesn't happen to Spear, but anyway, we'll see. Well, technically, Crossbow did have option to scale, it's just the boring whole while, but they did add a lot of new unique items, new support gems. So we'll figure something else, and hopefully it'll be fun and diverse. Speaking of which, I know some people have different opinion on this, but I get to learn all the boss mechanics in the campaign because every fight was taking like 3 to 5 minutes. And speaking of which, we need to find a way to get to that boss somehow. Let me see here. So we are back at the beginning. I guess I'll need to get to that checkpoint. A lot of people have asked me if I am going to do a leveling guide. I think I will, but as not as a fresh character, because at this point I'm looking to do a fast Huntress leveling. Mostly going to use twink gears, using unique items to help you overpower the campaign. Campaign is really hard, so definitely something that I will look to do. Anyway, so we get to the boss here. Let me just quickly see what is the boss. I have not fought this boss before, and yeah, we'll see. Okay, so this is the Necromancer guys. Oh no, this is the guys from Act 2 in Deshar. Okay. So the boss rotation is very simple. I mean, I usually don't battle with Stormlands, but you can throw them out in the beginning. If you get to my day 2 setups like in Mobalytics, you are going to just use sniper marks and use barrage on cooldowns, and then you can just throw the lightning spears, and you can see we do a lot of damage here. This boss have roughly 1 million HP. And yeah, I was right there. Anyway, back to throwing lightning spear and casting sniper mark on the boss and consume it. Anyway, that was a map and a half. I think the damage is pretty solid for a lightning spear build. Again, I'm trying to showcase the one button playstyle with lightning spear here. You can definitely use Stormlands, throwing them down the ground, throw the explosive spear, and do all that stuff. But then again, that's just lightning spear, should be fine. So let's talk about the setup now. Alright, so here we are. I'm level 80. You can see that I cap my elemental resistance with this doggle right here. I have the elemental resistant aura and Trail of Ice. These two are pretty good together because Trail of Ice is nice for helping us kite the monster. So when I'm kiting back like this, the double will run with me and leave a Trail of Ice on the ground. And because GGG haven't nerfed the monster speed yet, we are getting them. They are coming at us 500 km/h, like full bullet trains. But yeah, for budget setups, elemental resistant aura is extremely good. It gives 20% to all elemental resistance. So you always want to keep a tame beast skill gems in your inventory, so when you run into a beast like this, you can always look to capture them. I haven't really looked into all the monster modifier aura, but some of them has to be pretty good for our build, I assume. This one is probably good for the budget setups, and I have one that I tried that had the explode nearby corpse. Yeah, that one didn't do any damage. So anyway, gotta test a lot of stuff out. And so infused weapon. I'm running it with long shots, bullseye, embiter, and concavite. And we are getting another link at level 90, I think. So that's a little bit far away. We'll think about it when we get there. Let's see, there's like a few level 90s only, but yeah. When we get to the level 90s, hopefully we'll be pretty strong. So can't wait for that. So the first thing I want to talk about will be the embiter on infused weapons. And this is here because this is going to give us the cold damage, and whenever we use this, and it will buff our lightning spear to do cold damage, and we can freeze enemy, in which combat frenzy will give us the frenzy charge, and we can consume that with the lightning spears, in which is work like a loop, and we can also consume power charge with the potential support in the lightning spear. And supposedly you cannot generate power charge when you throw out the lightning spear, but it can. And I assume that it has to do with the reflect conduit. For now, it is working like that, so we use it in our setups to simplify the consume of charges. And next up, we have overcharge, which increase the magnitude of shock, and lightning spear will always shock. So you can use that, and it has the downside of reflecting shock back to you, which is the same as the downside in reflect conduit, and you can bypass that with the green devas, which say you cannot be shocked. This is a pretty cheap unique belt, which might not be after this video, but it's a very efficient belt that it will bypass both the downside of the reflect conduit and overcharge. Next up, we have potential, which give you 40% more chance to crits if you let me check my crits here real quick. So my accuracy rating is at 4600, and that convert into roughly 60% chance to crit, almost. Which means that if I consume the potentials with power charge, I will have 40% more, and if you count potential, that is going to be almost 100% chance to crit. Very good on a budget. Next up, we have Rising Tempest, and by the way, I got my 5 link from the trial of the Sekima. Was the really lucky drops. And yeah, so if you don't have a 5 link, I would suggest you to run this particular gem setups from the first to the last and add on as you get it. So we have Volt, we have Overcharge, Potentials, Rising Tempest, and Rising Tempest will always give you 36% more elemental damage because infused weapons have the lightning, cold, and fire attack, and you can always consume the charge with potentials, and the charge is generated from red flag conduit, consume and activate infused weapons, which will give us 36% more elemental damage. Overall, a very good setups. On top of that, we'll add lightning exposure because our skill shocks, and will give lightning exposure to the enemy. And I will think about some kind of different setup for single targets later on, maybe when I tackle the pinnacle bosses. Maybe we can bring back structural spears, and then we'll use Stormlands and explosive spear. Overall, we'll think about it when we get there. They want us to come back with 50k DPS for pinnacle bosses, but I highly doubt that we will do that. All the other skills, same setups pretty much. Thunder Sleep, Sniper Mark, Barrage, and during map you want to use Barrage on your lightning spear to do the damage mainly. No need for Stormlands and explosive spear shenanigans anymore, but you can do that if you feel like you're lacking single target damage. Mainly you are using it for electrocutions, which will generate you frenzy charge if needed. The main problem that I have right now is I'm doing way too much damage, so I feel like I don't need electrocutions in the maps, because I can generate it with Sniper Mark and throws from the lightning spear. For explosive spear, we are running over Abundance, Expedite. Someone in the comments suggests me to run Expedite, and I completely agree. I think Expedite is a great gem, and it saves about 1 second of detonation time. This will make the skill feels a lot more comfy to use, and I will definitely put that into the leveling section as well. So the skill itself does pretty good damage in the tooltips, 27k, so I'll just put fire exposure in here. Overall, not that important right now. For combat frenzy, I'm running precisions and profusions. You can use profusions in the sniper mark if you care more about single target damage, because we'll cast that on the boss and consume it. I'm also running precisions as it gives a little bit of accuracy rating, and that's pretty good. For Herald Thunders, I'm running Innovate, Magnified Effect, and Deadly Herald, which actually costs 20 spirits. So that's the new support gems. Link that give 30% more damage, lightning infusions. And lastly, we have the Dog, which we run Elemental Army and Meat Shield. Next up, we have the items. I think it's a pretty decent spear, but nothing too special, very cheap overall. You can get this for under 10x. And right now I have physical damage. I have some fire damage because I was running some Trinity shenanigans, but it didn't really work out. And I also have increased elemental damage with attack, which is a decent prefix, but the best one you want to find will have accuracy rating, physicals. You want to go for the highest physical roll on the spear. The suffix is kind of whatever, as long as you can find really good prefix. So because we are slacking the accuracy, you want to find Emerald Ring, with ideally flat damage roll on there with some maximum life. Some resistance would be okay as well, and attributes because this build is kind of attribute hungry. And yeah, just pick up whatever you can find. Flat, life, resistance, and yep. The Reflect Conduit is basically a budget option for this kind of build because it has the line that say give 20% chance to gain a power charge on hit, and because Lightning Spear hits a lot of targets, it chains to a lot of target, which means that you will almost always going to get power charge when you use this in mapping and in combat. Next up, the helmet. We running accuracy rating, some resistance if possible. We are running evasion base. I picked this up myself, so I have the rarity of item found. Attribute is nice too. Which I also have attribute on my amulet, and I have resistance, some spirits, just enough so I can run the herald setups. I have precisions, I have deadly herald, so that's 30 spirits. If you don't have it, you don't need to use it. So my glove and boots are basically just random pieces that I picked up. Make sure that you put runes on all your gears to fix up your resistance. Anyway, day 2 gears, nothing special. Let's talk about the passive skill trees, and I just got my 3rd ascendancies, which is Predatory Instinct. I ended up soloing the trial of second one myself, and it is kind of cool because I thought we would have some single target damage problem, but we ended up not having any, and it is one button playstyle throwing Lightning Spear into Sniper Mark. So I'm not saying that this is going to be the best skill tree setups, but I did try to respec, play around, but nothing concrete as I don't have the number in the PoE yet. I'm still waiting for all the updates, but I did path all the way down there. This is for the elemental penetration clusters, and we have some interesting node like Tainted Strike. I did try it earlier, but I didn't really like it, so I unspec'd out of it. This whole cluster gives us a lot of the damage penetration to lightning resistance, which is extremely good. This one gives us freeze, chance to shock, electrocute, ignite, which is pretty good as well because we are running it with some fire damage on the spear, which means that my skills can actually ignite and activate the elemental ailment. One of the elemental ailment because we need to shock, chill, ignite, and electrocute stuff as well, and you get the increased damage from there. Pretty good investment for a full point, which give you a bunch of increased damage. So this is pretty much the level 80 trees, and I'll keep you guys posted. I haven't really looked into the jewels yet, but I will start with magnitude shocks, lightning damage, lightning penetrations, and yeah. And I think that's pretty much cover everything I want to cover for the day 2 update. Build is turning out beautifully, better than I expected. I did not expect we can get this kind of damage playing in T11 maps, and again, I will push this build further and probably release a full build guide from the leveling section as well. I plan to maybe try to redo these characters, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, I'll try to look for the best setups. If you guys have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I do read all the comments as well. Thank you for all your suggestions. And with that, I am out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next update.